Time to rock and roll!
Hello my friends. My name is Bot Mathematician and this is Holomancer.
Also, Chief Investigative Reporter Dora joined us this evening.
Gadgets and Gazette always gets the scoop. Guys, I have several important questions about the game's economy and I demand answers. I'm concerned about the reduction in easily accessible gold, the complete destruction of passive XP grinding in the Mercenaries mode, and the potential special benefit of purchasing the Maw and Disorder mini-set.
Great topics for discussion, Dora. We will try to give your answers.
Please ask your questions.
Okay guys, in one of the previous videos, you stated that Blizzard significantly increased the number of free packs, which made it possible to compensate for the increase in the cost of the full collection of new expansions after the release of Death Knight. Despite this, I feel that with each new expansion I earn less and less gold. The rewards track has not changed, my activity in the game has not changed either. What am I doing wrong?
You are doing everything right. The problem is that expansion phases have become shorter.
Hearthstone's in-game year consists of 52 weeks. On average, at least 2 phases of expansion should last 17 weeks while the third phase should last 18 weeks. The Year of the Wolf is record short. The duration of Festival of Legends was 16 weeks, Titans was only 15 weeks. This means that the Badlands phase would be the largest. But according to the Blizzard store, the Tavern Pass will be available for purchase until March 11th. This means that a new expansion could be released on March 12th. As a rule, the rotation of sets and the release of the new year occur in April. This fact makes the Badlands phase only 17 weeks. Based on this, the length of the Year of the Wolf will be only 11 months instead of 12.
In this case, how much gold will we lose?
Let's imagine that a free-to-play player completes all quests during a month, and spends about an hour in the ranked every day, with a win rate of 50%, then in this case he will earn more than 63,000 XP.
This means that due to the reduction in the duration of expansion phases, such a player lost more than 2,000 gold coins. At the same time, the owner of the Tavern Pass lost more than 2,500,000 coins. All players have lost too many free resources throughout the year.
But why did Blizzard resort to such actions? Can this be considered another manipulation to force us to spend more money on packs?
We don't think these are intentional actions. On the 11th of March, Hearthstone will turn 10 years old.
Yes, dear viewer. You are very old, just like us. The development team simply decided to celebrate this event with the release of a new expansion. This is truly a very important moment for the game and a wonderful opportunity to attract attention to new content. But it is worth noting that the development team has a sufficient number of tools to compensate for the losses of players with additional rewards. Let's see how the number of rewards has changed. We divided all the free resources that players could receive for all activities during the expansion phase into 3 categories. Gold from the reward track, packs of current and next expansions, which have great value, and free cards plus packs of previous expansions, which are equivalent to dust. Throughout the Festival of Legends add-on, players could receive 19 current packs, total free rewards that are equivalent to more than 13,000 dust, including free legendary cards, random legendary and epic cards, as well as golden cards from the reward track plus almost 8,500 gold. The Titan phase has very similar numbers, but a reduced amount of gold due to the shorter expansion phase. In order to balance the situation, the developers should have slightly increased the number of current packs as rewards during events, but this was not done. We can also assume that the next year will last 13 months, in which case our gold will be returned in full.
These statistics support your theory about the balance of free resources. Despite the various rewards with different values, the total amount of useful resources does not change. But this rule does not seem to apply to gold. If for some reason the expansion phase becomes shorter, then players do not receive any compensation.
That's right, but this year the situation is special. The upcoming anniversary has disrupted the usual course of things.
There's no tragedy in this situation, but I would like the development team to pay attention to such details in the future. Such shortcomings certainly have a negative impact on the player experience and reduce the accessibility of the game.
Guys, is there an easy way for players to get more advantages under these circumstances?
Hearthstone's economy is quite flexible and allows players to generate benefits from very simple things. The best thing players can do is refuse to open standard packs. Start accumulating them right now.
In the previous video, we conducted research to determine the best packs to buy. According to the results, standard packs are one of the worst options. Moreover, when you consider the fact that in a few months half of their content will move to the wild format, their value becomes negligible. But after the release of the next expansion, everything will change, since thanks to duplicate protection, the packs will primarily contain cards from the new set, which means their usefulness will become significantly higher. During each expansion phase, you can receive about 35 standard packs, which can have a significant impact on increasing the collection of the next expansion.
Guys, speaking of your previous video about researching the real benefits of packs, viewers left interesting thoughts in the comments under the video. The nerf to Defense Attorney Nathanos significantly affected the benefits of purchasing the Maw and Disorder mini-set, which you ignored in the video. I want to know how profitable this purchase is.
Let's do some additional calculations. To check this, we will use our benefit factor algorithm. This is our benchmark that was created to determine the usefulness of each purchase.
Taking into account the legendary card that can be disenchanted at full cost, the benefit factor for the current metagame is 304 dust per 100 golden coins. This result makes this offer less profitable than the first 30 packs of Badlands, but slightly more preferable compared to the first 30 packs of Titans. This is a really good result, which will only be relevant for the next 3 months. But if you want to buy this mini set just to get rid of all the cards after the rotation, then your benefit factor will decrease to only 186 dust, even taking into account the opportunity to disenchant Nathanos for the full cost. This means that at the moment this option would provide less benefit than even 245 Badlands packs. Dear friends, don't miss our previous video. In it you will learn the nuances about our approach and will be able to correctly choose the next pack to purchase.
Let me summarize the above. Players consider buying mini-sets to be a very profitable purchase in terms of obtaining dust, but in fact this is a big misconception. You will only get tangible benefits if you can find active use for legendary cards over a long period of time. The ability to disenchant a legendary card at full cost has a positive impact on this proposal, but it is completely negated by the upcoming rotation. You'll get more long-term benefits if you buy an additional 20 Badlands packs. Don't want to waste resources on this set? In this case, save the gold to purchase the next mini set or next expansion packs. This will bring you significantly more usefulness. Guys, I'm really worried about another thing. Blizzard has radically reduced the amount of XP per game in Mercenaries mode due to some players resorting to AFK grinding in this mode. Even I periodically resorted to this method at the beginning of the season in order to quickly get to the second legendary card on the reward track. The Hearthstone team's desire to control the extraction of free resources has gone too far. What do you think about it?
This is a very important topic to discuss. According to a survey on our community tab, only 8% of players often resorted to this strategy. The main reason for fighting passive grinding is the supposed lost profit. Most likely, Blizzard hopes that killing AFK grinding will force grinders to buy a tavern pass. But I have huge doubts that there are a large number of potential premium players among grinders. I don't believe that AFK grind caused any significant damage to the game's revenue.
Moreover, we believe that these restrictions will not stop players but will make the situation much worse. The new conditions will force players to resort to AFK grinding in Battlegrounds mode, or in solo mode with slightly less benefit. At the same time, Blizzard has the right to combat methods that abuse the features of the progression system. This is fine. The main problem lies in the methods of struggle.
What do you mean?
When Russia's military aggression against Ukraine began, the mercenary mode was the main way to save my mental health. In conditions of a weak internet signal, a complete lack of electricity and regular missile strikes, I saved myself by playing in this mode.
We really love this way of playing, despite a ton of shortcomings, and periodically take part in Mythic Boss Rush. I still have to collect a few thousand coins to make one of the strategies work. We know that the mode has very few fans, but they still exist. Some members of the community continue to make videos about strategies for playing against mythic bosses, and these videos gather an audience. Yes, this is not a large audience, but again, it exists. With its actions, Blizzard completely betrays the last fans, forcing them to leave the game. It's terrible. A similar approach was taken to the classic format, which was taken over by bots. Unwilling to put in any effort, Blizzard replaced this way of playing with Twist, which is by far the worst traditional mode. In turn, this did not solve the problem of bot farming. The bots simply moved to the wild format.
In other words, Blizzard has once again punished loyal fans without solving the problem.
That's right, if Blizzard wanted to solve the problem, they would implement creative methods to improve the XP system instead of shooting themselves in the foot.
For example, I want to play solo content more often, but the low reward deprives me of any motivation. This problem can be easily solved and at the same time limit the possibility of passive grinding. But, according to Blizzard's logic, their next step should be a radical reduction in the amount of XP gained for playing solo adventures.
I agree. If the Hearthstone team was able to dramatically expand the capabilities of packs thanks to the introduction of catch-up packs, then modifying XP earnings should not be a problem for them. But developers prefer to use the stupidest and most ineffective methods to achieve their goals.
And the last thing that really surprises us is the indifference of the community. Instead of calls to relaunch Mercenaries with improvements, or at least give the fans their XP back, we see calls to remove the mode from the client.
We saw the same reaction from the community after the removal of Classic and Fireside Gathering. The indifference of the community has already led to the complete disappearance of new solo adventures. Death Knight wasn't just left without his solo content, he didn't even get a chapter in the Book of Heroes. Blizzard sees the lackluster response from players and the lack of community cohesion, which allows them to implement their own strategy to reduce investment in the game.
And the main reason for this is not the greed of the developers, but the complete indifference of the players who do not want to protect the interests of the minority.
As always, we want to ask you a traditional question.
Do you believe that a consolidated community position can have a decisive influence on the development and support of games?
And the second question, do you miss new solo adventures? Share your thoughts in the comments and join the polls in the community tab.
Finally, we want to express our boundless gratitude to our sponsors. Dear friends, your support is invaluable. Many thanks to each of you.
We also want to welcome new subscribers to our Mathematician Squad. We only see nicknames of public users who have not hidden the subscription section on their channel, but we are grateful to everyone for joining.
Okay, that's all for today. Thank you for spending this time with us. We really hope that we will have the opportunity to get in touch in the next video.
Take care of yourself.
And never give up.
Job's done.